We'll go back into Revelation chapter 13, verse 9. Like I said, we're living in now, getting close. You're living in the last days. But verse 9 says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. So if you have an ear, Bible says, let him hear. All right, verse 10 says, he that lead into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. See, here is the patience and the fate of the saints. See, if you kill somebody, they say he must be killed. See, he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. See, so a lot of people, like I said, killing them when that beast system come in fully in. This is what's going to be happening. If you do something wrong, that's why they're going to want to kill you. If you kill somebody, do something bad, they're coming after you. All right. And verse 11. See, there's a lot of people think that's in the United States. And so verse 11 said, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and it had two horns like a lamb, and spake as a dragon. See, they said because this beast came up out of the earth, saying that's in the United States. That is not true. The United States home will be broken after they fight Iran. The home will be broken. The Bible said. You know, and a broke Iraq horn, Iran horn is yet to be broken. We don't know how long after the United States horn will be broken. Can be 6 months. We don't know. A year, 2, 3 years, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. We don't know. Only God knows. But the Bible says his horn will be broken. You're going to break Iran horn. After you break Iran horn, his horn will be broken. That's in Daniel chapter 8. So a lot of people don't understand that. You know. But over here, there's the second beast in Revelation. The second beast in Revelation chapter 13 is the false prophet from the Vatican. That's going to be a Baal Pope. It's not this Pope or nothing. It's not time yet, because we're just in the first and the second beast in the United States, Britain, and the Russian bear. See? They make a war, kill, like an animal. I call it a beast. You gotta understand that. China is there, and the Vatican is there. The false prophet from the Vatican is there, but they're not doing any killing yet. So he's going to be in the third beast. After the United States home get broken, we'll get into the third beast. Third beast going to have 4 heads. It can be the Vatican, Britain, and Russia, and China. And after the third beast, then the 10 horn will show up. You'll get the 10 horn. Probably come out from the European nation. I don't know. But then the 10 horn will come. But they ain't going to have no power yet. But the little horn will get out from the third beast. The false prophet will get out from the third beast and get with the 10 king. Because I explained it to you in Daniel chapter 7. He going to come among those 10. Okay, so when he come among the 10, he going to pluck up those other 3 who he was with. And there's a lot of people talking about he going to pluck up the 10. 3 out of those 10 king. That's not true. He going to pluck up them first 3 beasts who he was with. And the third beast, because it was 4 of them. He was among them. There was 4. So When he got out from there, he's left 3 of and the third beast. When he got with the 10 kings, he got out from the third beast and got with the 10 kings. So it left 3 of those other beasts who he was with, like Russia, China, and it's Russia, China, and Britain. He's going to plug them up. See, when you get with the 10 kings, the false prophet going to plug them up. Because the false prophet was among the third beast, was among them. That's all I'm trying to show you. It is man be saying, like in Revelation chapter 13 and 11, they're talking about that's the United States. It's not true. The United States ain't going to be there at that time. When the second beast come in Revelation. Second beast in Revelation chapter 13 is the false prophet. And it caused people to receive the mark. He did miracles and all that. The Bible tells you that if you just read it. I'm going to get to that. See, he had 2 horns like a lion. He had the religious power and the political power, the government power. Because he had the 10 horns with him. See, they became one. He was under one mind. It's in Revelation chapter 17, I think. See, 17 and 13. You know, you can start in verse 17 and 12. But we'll show you. All right, 17 and 12, it says, the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as king 1 hour with the beast. See, 1 hour with the false prophet. They receive power. 1 hour with the beast, with the false prophet. And the verse 13 said, and these have one mind. See, they became under one mind because he came among those 10, the false prophet, that you read about in Daniel. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast, to the false prophet. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. See? He'll make a war with the Lamb. See? But you can go back into Daniel chapter 7. See? In verse 7. It says, after this I saw in the night vision, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful, terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth, and it devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. You see, it had 10 horns. See, in verse 8 tell you who came among those 10. Saying, I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. See, it was the false prophet from the Vatican, before whom there were 3 of the first horn plucked up by the roots. See, the first horn, who was the first horn plucked up by one? Because he was among those other 3. After he got with the 10, he plucked them up. He didn't need them no more. See, it's not that he didn't pluck 3 out of those 10. He plucked out them other 3. Them 10 horn was still there. This is what you read in Revelation chapter 17. The 10 horn is still there. How can he say he plucked them up? It wouldn't be there. It will only be 7. You see. You know, I'm not thinking. Read, he that read, let him understand. See. And plucked up, he said, them another little horn. You see, that there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. See, it was plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn, see, were eyes like the eyes of men. See, like the eyes of men. And a mouth speaking great things. See, you go down in verse 20. It's the same thing in verse 20. See, verse 20 said, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other, he's talking about the false prophet, the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell. See, over here it said 3 fell. And like in verse 8, it said he plucked up 3. It's the same thing. It is reading a little different. That's all. See, they said 3 fell here. Even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth spake very great things, whose looks were more stout than his fellows. You see, tell you saying that I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevail against them. See, he made war with the saints. You go down to verse 24, it tell you the same thing. At verse 20 and verse 7 and 8, it's the same, but it just read a little different, explaining it a little different, but it's the same. It's saying the 10 horns, in verse 24 said, and the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise. See, the 10 horns always arrive first. Then the little horn come among the 10. See, the 10 shall and the 10 horn out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them. See, it's the false prophet. All right, he will come after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. See, right here he said subdue. In verse 20 he said 3 fell. In verse 8 said he plucked up 3. It's the same. You know, that's what I'm trying to get people to understand. See, the Bible used different words, but it means the same thing. He said 3, he plucked up 3. The other place say 3 fell, and the other place say he subdued 3 kings. They didn't have no authority no more. See, and they be saying, these preachers be saying that, like you read about in Daniel, like because it said in Revelation chapter 1, he talking about that's the antichrist. Revelation chapter 1 and 13, from chapter 13 verse 1. That is not true. It is shown by all the beasts. The first was like a lion, and second like a bear, and the third, then the 10 horn. But they didn't show the false prophet came among those 10 in Revelation chapter 13 and 1. It stopped when it got to the 10 horns. So what John explained it. And it got to the little horn, he put it in Revelation chapter 13 and verse 11. That's all I'm trying to show y'all, so y'all can get the understanding. You know, because they be saying, oh, this beast came up out of the sea. You know, Revelation 13 and 1. See, because it read came up out of the sea. That's why they try to say it's the Vatican, because they had 10 horn in it. Talking about it was the little horn. And it wasn't the little horn yet. Little horn came in verse 13 in Revelation chapter 13 and verse 11. Who came in with the little horn? False prophet. All right. Like in Daniel chapter 7 and verse 3, it said, 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. See? It came up from the sea. It says right here, 4 great beasts came up from the sea. This is why they're saying that in Revelation chapter 13. Say it came up from the sea. But go down and read. It tell you that they came from the earth too. Revelation chapter 7 and verse 17. See where they come from now. See, I read a little different, but it's the same thing. You know, and say, these great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arrive out of the earth. See, it says out of the earth now, over here. This is what I'm showing you, how y'all get the wrong understanding. See, it came up out of the earth. Just like the verse 11, it said it came up out of the earth. The little horn, the false prophet. In Revelation chapter 13 and verse 11, it said it came up out of the earth. And right here in Daniel chapter 7, in verse 3, it said it came from the sea. Just like what they say in Revelation chapter 13 and verse 1. Came from the sea. And over here in verse 17, chapter 7 of Daniel, in verse 17, said it came from the earth. But it's the same. All of it is the same. The Bible is using different ways of explaining itself. Because it means the same thing. Just like what it's saying in Revelation chapter 17 and verse 15. It said because the water represents people, nation, he said. 17, Revelation chapter 17, verse 15, he said, he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whole sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nation and tongue. See, you could say that about the sea. It means like from the populated area, like in Europe. I'm talking about the United States came from a less populated area when it came in 1778 or something. Over 200 years ago or whatever. Talking about the United States. That's the second beast in Revelation chapter 13. That's not true. This is saying because it came from a less populated area. Because it came from the earth. So when they say it came from the sea, you know, it's like it's a populated area. It's not what you've got the wrong understanding. You got to go with the Bible is saying. See? That's all I'm trying to show y'all. So y'all can get the right understanding. When you read Revelation chapter 13, back in Revelation chapter 13 and verse 1, yeah. The verse 1 says, I stood up on the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. See, it shows all the way up to Daniel chapter from 3 to verse 7. It shows all those beasts. But it didn't show like in verse 8. Verse 8 was the little horn came up among the 10 king, the little horn, the false prophet. And they showed the false prophet in Revelation 13 and verse 11. See, so it's showing that it came up out of the earth. But it's all mean the same thing. Out of the sea, out of the earth, it's the same. Just like you say about soul. No, he's talking about soul, he's talking about the spirit. This using soul because in man, God breathed into man. God breathed into man, man became a living soul. That's God's spirit. It's like he used Holy Ghost. You know, I said Holy Spirit. You know, the Spirit of God. You know, God is a spirit. And I use Holy Ghost. It's the same thing. That's all I'm trying to show you. Just like God called the saints by different names. Call them Israel. The bride of Christ. You know, sons of God. You know, you could use different names. The church. Talking about the same group of people. Like Christ called himself, Jesus Christ called himself by different name. God called himself by different name. You have to know who he's talking about. He's talking about the same person. That's all I'm trying to show you. Even though he used different things, but he's talking about the same. That's how those preachers get deceived. You know, deceive the people. Talking about Revelation chapter 13 and verse 11. That's the United States. That is not true. You know, it's a false prophet. The last beast going with government. He's going to be with them 10 kings, what he showed you about in Daniel. You get power, they tell you in Revelation chapter 13, give power to those 10 kings. Revelation chapter 17, verse 12 and 13. You give power to those 10 kings. That's all I'm trying to show. I'm trying to explain. This take a lot of time. I have to go through these over and over to try to help people to understand. Stop letting these preachers and stuff, because they so-called knows the Bible. They be off in some places. Have the wrong understanding. But the Bible used the same thing. They used sea here, came up from the sea. In the other place they came up from the earth. The same 4 beasts came from the earth. In verse 17, tell you it came from the earth, out of the earth. In verse 3 it said from the sea. It's the same. This is using different names. It's like using about the soul and the spirit. Some people think God don't have a soul. It tell you that, like I said in Psalm chapter 11 verse 5. And Jesus Christ says soul, I think that's in Matthew chapter 26 and verse 38, I believe. Yeah. He uses soul. He says soul is sorrowful. I think it's in Matthew. I read it before. A lot of things be in different places. See. Matthew 26, 38. And then said he unto them, my soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here and watch with me. See? He said soul was sorrowful, exceedingly sorrowful. You just gotta understand what you read. Then like I say, you go to Psalm, Psalm chapter 11 and verse 5, saying the Lord tried the righteous, but the wicked and him that loveth violence, his soul hated. See, he said his soul hated. That's God in the Old Testament. But most of the time they use soul for man, because they be talking about man. So you gotta understand, what you're reading. Bible use different names for different things all the time. Be talking about the same thing. That's all I'm trying to show you. Just because one place it said came from the sea, in the other place it came from the earth. Because it said it came from the earth in Revelation 13 and 11. He had 2 horns. Yeah, he had 2 horns, 2 power. He had the religious power and the political power, because he had the 10 horns with him. 10 horns like rules, political government, stuff. And he had the religion. He was head of all the religion. The Vatican, the Catholic Church, like the head of all of the religion. You can see all that now. That's all I'm trying to show y'all. So y'all walk God's word for yourself. Don't let these preachers believe you and tell you that it's the United States in Revelation chapter 13 and 11. That's the false prophet, not the United States. The United States home will be plucked up before that. After they fight the rain, home will be broke. Then we'll get into the 3rd beast. The 3rd beast gonna rule a while. The Bible tell you that in Daniel chapter 8. Daniel chapter 8, like in verse 23. See, I'm going to read verse 22. It said, now that being broken, whereas four stood up for his full kingdom, and shall stand up. See, the United States home was broken, and then four stood up for the kingdom. You see, and that was the third beast. Shall stand up out of the nation. You see, but not in his power, not in the U.S. power, because it could be broken. Yeah, stand up out of the United Nations, but not in his power, because the U.S. power will be broken. And in the latter times, see, them four of them gonna rule a while, them four kingdoms. And in the latter time of that kingdom, see, in the latter time, see, they're gonna rule a while. When the transgression will come to the fool, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark senses shall stand up. That's the false prophet. But he's going to be among the 10. He's not showing the 10 right here, but he's going to be among the 10. So you guys stay home, get broken, like in verse 8, 2 to tell you 8 and 9. See, Daniel chapter 8 and verse 9. And verse 8 and 9. It's in that verse 8 said, therefore it said, therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken. Talking about the U.S. You see, and for it came up four notable one toward the four winds of heaven. See, four notable one, the four king came up. That's Daniel 7 and 6. And when the third beast came in, and in verse 9 saying, out of one of those four. See, one of those four, because the Vatican was among those four. See, they say out of one of them came forth a little horn. See, the little horn came forward. Then the little horn got with the 10 kings. See, after he got out from the third beast, he got with the 10 kings. Out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceedingly great toward the south, and then toward the east, and toward the pleasant land, towards Israel. See, and it's, like I said, it took a lot of time to explain all that to the people, so I'm just trying to explain all that. But in Revelation chapter 13 and 11, it's the false prophet. It's that little horn, false prophet. He had two horns like a lamb. And he spake as a dragon, because he had the religious power and the political power, because he had the 10 horns with him. So I'm getting y'all to try to understand. That's why I go to it over and over. Sometimes it takes time for certain people to understand. But we're not there yet. We're just in the first and the second beast. Then you guys stay at home, get broken, and fight Iran, and go beat Iran. Then his home gonna be broke. We don't know how long afterward. But his home gonna be broken. And the third beast gonna come in, they're gonna rule a while. You know, the false prophet gonna be among the third beast. Then in the latter time of the third beast, he gonna get with the 10 king. 10 king gonna show up, then you're gonna get with the 10 king. And that will be the final beast. We're not there yet. It's not gonna be the end when they fight Iran. We'll still gonna get into the third beast. But thank y'all, and may God bless y'all and give y'all wisdom and knowledge and understanding of his word.